I was indeed going out to see Treyarch, and I was supposed to be like hanging out with all the Call of Duty Zombie guys. We were going to be playing the game early.
You were not supposed to see that. Why did that just happen?
What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and today we're going to be compiling all of the main zombies Easter eggs that were featured in Blackout. Now, I know there were a couple of smaller ones like the teddy bears, Dr. Monty's candy, but we're going to be focusing on the big ones here in this video. So first off, as we all know, towards the end of the Blackout beta, Treyarch allowed us to play as the zombies characters. Now, this was open to the premise characters and, of course, the new Chaos storyline characters. We did see Ultimus in the Blackout trailer, so I'm assuming they're either going to be DLC bonuses or can be unlocked once the game fully launches. And people are also speculating about the Victus crew being playable, which also sounds plausible. Now, other than that, around the day before the end of the beta, we also got our hands on the new zombie boss. Now, this boss is, of course, from the map 9, and he can only be found in the cemetery from what I understand. I've never seen him in any other zombies location here around the map, nor have any of my friends seen him anywhere else besides the cemetery. And the way that you kill him is simply by shooting the spores on his back. This motherfucker will eat. This guy will waste all of your ammo, and if you're playing on solo and you don't know how to kill him correctly, then you're probably going to go through every single weapon that could be found in the cemetery. You're going to burn through all the ammo and probably get killed in the process. And it is possible to kill him on solo. It may take a little bit of extra ammo here and there, but if you know how to kill him correctly and you do it before another enemy comes up to you and ruins it for you, then you're in luck. But usually, as you guys can see, I ended up killing him with a good friend of mine. Now, the zombie boss does have a name, and his name is the Blind Father. Now, as you guys saw earlier in this footage, don't ever drive an ATV into him. It'll explode instantly and it doesn't do shit to him, even though I had an idea that you can possibly run him over and do a lot of damage to him. That, of course, doesn't work. When you're in a chopper, he'll pretty much shoot you down, and I'm assuming the same thing will happen when you're driving one of those big trucks and whatever other vehicles are featured at launch. Now, I do think that it's really fascinating and extremely exciting to know that we not only got a multiplayer beta and the Blackout beta, but almost something close to a zombies beta, because there were, of course, a lot of zombies featured in Blackout. But once you kill them, you are rewarded pretty seriously. You get the ray gun, level 3 armor, some trauma kits, some golden weapons, everything that you essentially want when it comes to getting a dub here in Blackout. Now, keep in mind, if the circle closes in on the cemetery, then he'll automatically disappear. So if by any chance you happen to go into the cemetery unbothered and you try killing him, then you do have a time limit, because the circle will, of course, close in on the cemetery. But if you are lucky and the cemetery is actually featured within the circle, then you almost have an unlimited amount of time, you know, by the end of the game to actually kill this big piece of shit. Now, other than this big zombie boss, we of course have a number of zombie locations here in Blackout as well. The first one being Verrucht, aka the Asylum. Now, this is of course right next to the buried maze as well, so I'll feature gameplay of both of those little spots here on screen now. And obviously they ripped Verrucht from DLC 5. We all know that every zombie map that was made post Zetsubo was made using the Black Ops 4 engine, making all of those resources very easy to port over into Black Ops 4, and obviously DLC 5 being a recent release for Treyarch that allowed them to just port over the Verrucht section, which I think fits very well with Blackout. It does get pretty hectic when everybody drops there, because you're kind of rushing to see who gets a weapon first to take out whoever's running towards you. Try not to get punched, of course, but obviously you can get your hands on some really cool zombies weapons, and there's a lot of areas to hide, which really sucks. Now, this isn't just Verrucht as we know and love. There's extended areas. They've opened certain doors that were never accessible in zombies, certain areas we never got to see, but now we can access just about anywhere in this asylum. And there's of course another mansion or house across the street from this asylum, or actually just a couple feet away, which you can also go and find some loot in. Now, when it comes to the buried maze, this is also a pretty fun area to be in. Now, we all remember it from Buried, but I think it's been a couple of years since people have actually run through this maze, unless they still have a last gen platform to play Black Ops 2 on. And there's of course a lot of loot in this maze as well. You can find some nice armor and some nice weapons. I found a couple of gold weapons in here before, but this is also another dangerous spot where people could be hiding in a corner. You could be running through the maze and out of nowhere get dropped. So just be aware of your surroundings whenever you run through the maze. But once again, the layout of this maze is nearly the same as the one we had back in Buried. Now there is a music Easter egg which I am going to cover right now. If you flush the toilet back in the Asylum 3 times, it'll play the same song that we all know and love from the original Verrückt, known as Lullaby of a Dead Man. Take a listen.
Net call. Supply drop incoming.
So next up we have the Lighthouse from Call of the Dead. So all of us pointed this out when we first watched the reveal trailer for the Blackout beta, and obviously this is a big hint towards a possible remaster later in the year, but the fact that the layout is exactly the same really makes me excited for a current gen version of one of my fan favorite maps. So the Lighthouse is of course nearly the same as the Call of the Dead one, except once again there's a couple of extra areas you can access. You couldn't have accessed the very top of the Lighthouse back in Call of the Dead, but this time you can go a couple of flights of stairs higher than you were able to before, and there's a couple of areas downstairs as well which you can find some nice loot in. Now I have seen a chopper across the way on a beach before, not sure if that was an actual spawn for it or if that was somebody just landing there. You can obviously swim in the water to evade some of your enemies, but when the circle closes in on the Lighthouse, it is a little difficult to actually get away and get back into the circle. So I recommend, if you come over to the Lighthouse, have an ATV, have a chopper, have a truck for your friends so you can get away from here as soon as you can. But the mystery box constantly spawns here even when it's out of the circle, which is kind of funny. So once again, when the circle closes in on a certain area of the map, let it be a zombies location, the mystery box will then disappear. But most of the time I have seen it spawn here either for a second or third spawn here in on the map. Now next up we have the diner from Transit, an area from a zombie map that I didn't expect to see here in Blackout and was actually only seen in a couple of screenshots the Game Informer released for Blackout. I didn't actually see the diner in the Blackout beta trailer. So the diner layout is once again exactly the same as it was in Transit, and I hope that this is hinting at a possible remake or remaster of Transit as well, because if we see the return of Victus throughout the DLC season for the Ether storyline, then I do hope to see some remasters or remakes of the original Victus maps from Black Ops 2. But they also included that gas station or that auto shop which is right next to the diner, as we also remember from Transit, so you can also access that area to find some good loot, and I'm always finding some nice armor here. And once again, maybe about a little bit over half the time when I play Blackout, I've seen the mystery box at the diner. So if I'm dropping Newtown, I grab a chopper and then fly over right to diner, then I'm able to access a bunch of great weapons right there from the box. But other than that, always keep in mind, as I forgot to mention, there are always going to be zombies spawning in at these zombies locations if the mystery box is there. You guys probably know that, but just reminding you in case you forgot. Now next up we have the boxing gym from Shadows of Evil. So obviously, as I mentioned in a previous Blackout video, the graphics of Blackout don't look the best. I understand that, but obviously this is just a beta, and obviously based on the player count and the RNG that's featured in this massive game mode, they're not going to be able to go all out with the graphics. Things have to be sacrificed, and graphics is definitely one of them, and I'm okay with that. I would rather have a smooth experience with these graphics using my beautiful saturation settings from Elgato versus having a perfectly rendered Blackout map with shitty frame rate and bad balancing throughout a multiplayer match. Now the layout of the boxing gym is exactly the same. You're always going to find some good loot here as well, and this is usually where I end up finding a Galil or MP40 when I kill some zombies, and I usually don't see the mystery box actually spawn here until it's towards maybe the middle or maybe 3/4 through the actual match here in Blackout. I usually see it spawn first at Varrock or Cemetery, then I kind of see it move a little bit towards Diner and Boxing Gym. But this is also a fun area to be in. Once again, there's a lot of shit going on here though. Obviously there's houses across the street, there's a boat on your left, and so much could be happening all at once depending on the amount of players left in your game. But it would have been cool to see a keeper spawn. Hopefully we see that during the official launch of Blackout, but I'm really happy that they included the Boxing Gym from Shadows of Evil. So aside from the zombies locations, we have an Easter egg that many of you may have missed in the cemetery, which is Richtofen'S grave. Now the reason I didn't cover this when we were looking at the cemetery is because this Easter egg could be hinting at a massive storyline that's about to take place throughout the DLC season, or even in Blood of the Dead and Classified. So it's been hinted for quite a while that Richtofen is going to die, and it'll leave the 3 Primus characters essentially stranded without their leader who always knows what to do. And with that being said, his death would actually make some sense, since within the official Call of Duty Zombies comic, the first series that is, we did get a new loading screen that almost mimics the one we had from Die Rise, except this time we see 3 Primus characters, Dempsey, Nikolai, and Takio, along with Ultimus Richtofen going to the house. So if I had to guess, maybe Primus Richtofen dies or disappears or gets taken hostage in Blood of the Dead, and then since we're all essentially clueless, the only Richtofen we're able to find is an Ultimus Richtofen, which makes the dynamic really interesting. And I would love to see how an Ultimus evil Richtofen would react to these 3 heroes, or the 3 Primus characters, as we're trying to break the cycle. But leave your theories about that down below in the comments section. I definitely think Richtofen, or Primus Richtofen that is going to die at some point throughout the season. Maybe not forever, but maybe a temporary displacement or some type of temporary absence where our 3 Primus characters have to step it up. Now we also have an Easter egg that I wasn't able to capture when I was playing Blackout, but some bigger YouTubers did. Noah J456, JC Backfire, Optic Scump. I'll leave their designated streams down below in the description. But essentially, when you're outside of the circle, at random, you'll see Samantha's face. Now you also see the numbers that we all remember from Black Ops 1 and that campaign, but you will eventually see a quick shot of Samantha's face, which gives me a hint that maybe Blackout is another one of those children's games where they're actually playing with toys and going crazy, as we saw at the end of the Origins cutscene, which I think would be pretty fascinating in terms of the Blackout storyline. Treyarch did confirm that there is a big storyline for Blackout, which we haven't actually figured out yet, and I do think with the inclusion of zombies, then that actual storyline would make sense when it comes to Samantha and Edward playing with their toys and having a good time in their room. So next up we have a little bit of a bonus. Even though Newtown isn't actually a zombie section, we could tell that the actual island is based off of Newtown zombies. The layout is nearly identical, and the coolest part about Newtown Island isn't that the entire town is accessible other than the green and yellow house, but the fact that the bunker is also accessible is very exciting, because back in Newtown Zombies, that was a huge conspiracy, a huge myth. People always thought there was going to be a way to actually open the bunker and go in to hide so you can essentially win the game. But I do think if we do see a Newtown remaster or remake, then this would be a perfect opportunity to include that. Now, when you go into the Newtown bunker, this is an Easter egg that many of you may have saw, but the actual poster from Der Eisendrache is in here, so you can see Leroy and the Wolf King here in the poster. It's also the same poster that was used to initiate the side quest for the Wolf Bow. But that's about it when it comes to the major zombies Easter eggs that were featured in Blackout. Enjoy some gameplay on screen of the various zombies weapons that were also featured in Blackout, which can all be found at random, either through a mystery box or by killing zombies. This has been dkdynamite. Enjoy some crisp gameplay of the Ray Gun Mark 1, the MG08 Mark II, or I would call the double barrel MG08 known as a Zweihander, some monkey bombs, the Galil, and even the MP40. Enjoy the rest of the gameplay.
you hit that bit?
Medkits. I got the Galil, dude. Monkey bombs. Oh, they're down there. I don't think anybody else is here, bro.